is the one to see. Call 387-2323.
LA 21-12671. Offices in Baton Rouge.
WNXX Jackson, KNXX Donaldsonville, and WDTL HD2 Baton Rouge. This hour brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers. LA 21-12682. Offices in Baton Rouge. Hanny time. Hanny time. A daily look at sports from our resident historian. Your sports break during your lunch break. Now, here's Charles Hannegriff.
And a pleasant good afternoon. Welcome to Hanny Time, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Hannegriff, Mario Jerez, Taylor Sharp, man in the controls. Skip Bertman with us in about 15 minutes. Skip signing books today. And you can get a copy, a picture, an autographed copy of the new book. We're going to talk to Skip here in about 15 minutes. Dwayne Colucci at the bottom of the hour. We'll see what the weekend was in Las Vegas, where the odds are. Currently, LSU line on the move, going up, 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 up. Has been doing nothing but that since the end of play, really, on Saturday. By the way, Auburn. I thought this was a significant deal yesterday. Auburn without their starting center now for probably the rest of the season. Their starting center, Tate Johnson. Well, if I could read my own handwriting, I'd be dangerous. Tate Johnson, 6 to 8 weeks. Nick Brahms was their starting center in camp. He had to retire from football because of chronic knee injuries. Johnson took over. He started the first 4 weeks. So Auburn's going to be on their third center on Saturday. Jalil Irvin, a senior, one career start, was in the bowl game last year. He's going to take over as their starting center. Why is that significant, guys? See if you've been paying attention. Why is it significant when team loses their starting center?
Something to do with the fact in the line.
Yes. Our dear departed friend, the late Buddy Diliberto, his favorite angle. His team loses starting center. They don't cover 85% of the time the next week. Only Buddy would find that. Jimmy thought that was the coolest little angle ever. We use it every time we're alerted to it.
Shout out Buddy D.
Yeah. Little sky point there. Anyway, that lines up to 9. We'll talk with Colucci about that at the bottom of the hour. So I want to start with this. Once upon a time, this would have been a massive story. All right, this would have been, hey, wait a minute, we finally got the word, and now it's more of an afterthought, but it's LSU related, so I want to get to it. The IARP, the Independent Accountability Resolution Process, otherwise known as a gigantic waste of time and money, came to a ruling today on Memphis. Why is this important? Because there's only 5 cases left before they disband the money-wasting Independent Accountability Resolution Process, the colossal waste of time process. There are 5 cases left, and LSU is one of them, but so is Memphis, and they got this done today. So, as briefly as I can put this, Memphis was accused of 4 level 1 violations, 2 level 2 violations, and a lack of institutional control. Sounds real bad. Penny Hardaway, at the heart of this case was Penny Hardaway providing $11,500 in moving expenses to James Wiseman. Wiseman played all of 3 games for Memphis. Then he left because his eligibility was in question. He sued the NCAA. He dropped the lawsuit. What the NCAA ruled today, the IARP ruled today, is that they were accused of 4 level 1 violations, found guilty of none of them. 2 level 2 violations, they actually downgraded 2 of the level 1 violations to level 2 violations, and 5 level 3 violations, which are the NCAA equivalent of a parking ticket. They were fined $5,000 and 0.25% of the basketball budget at Memphis, which is, I have no idea and don't care, and 3 years of probation, which means basically don't pay for any more basketball players to move. The NCAA didn't do anything to Penny Hardaway, who is still the coach there, because Penny has given thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to all of these philanthropic causes. And so they're like, Penny gives away money all the time, which he does. He doesn't always give it to 6'11" centers who are coming to play basketball for him, but Penny gives away a lot of money. Penny made a lot of money, and he's involved in all kind of stuff in Memphis. He's a Memphis guy, was a Memphis guy in college, Memphis guy now. He gives away plenty of money. what's interesting to me and the LSU tie into this is LSU is accused of basically the same thing, minus the $11,500, which Memphis admitted happened, by the way. Like, hey, it's $11,500 in moving expenses. Did you pay it? Yep. Took them 18 months to find that out. Send me a bill. Who paid for Wiseman's moving truck? Penny. Okay. How much did it cost? $11,500. All right. This took 18 months. This is why I call this a colossal waste of time and money. So Memphis was accused of 4 level 1 violations. LSU is accused of 5 level 1 violations. Will Wade didn't agree that he paid moving expenses or any kind of expenses for anybody. All he did was make a damn strong offer. We don't know what that was. 2 level 2 violations for both of them. Both of them accused of lack of institutional control. This investigation has taken 18 months. LSU's is going on, I'm not certain, somewhere in the area of 4 years now since this initially broke. Did I mention that they're disbanding the IARP after this? $5,000, which out of the Memphis athletic budget, I'm guessing is what they spend in coffee filters for the year. 0.25% of their men's basketball budget. Took them 18 months to do this. This is why the IARP is being disbanded. I forgot the other. The lack of institutional control, which mysteriously went away when the violations were announced to the resolution of the case, and that they had not cooperated entirely with the investigation, which I think we can safely assume that Will Wade didn't cooperate, from pillar to post. Now, it's also interesting to me that Wiseman played in these 3 games, which I could care less about. Memphis was playing. It doesn't even matter. But when the NCAA came down and said that Javonte Smart was under investigation, he was suspended or he was ineligible to play all the way up until I think it was an hour before the SEC tournament. They finally got him cleared somewhere between an hour and 2 hours before they played. I believe it was Florida. So Wiseman played. Memphis was like, yeah, Penny paid his moving expenses. And, yeah, he's playing tonight. Kind of, yeah. It still took him 18 months. My guess is that LSU is going to get something similar to this. It may not be chapter and verse the exact same thing. But the only real teeth that a penalty from the NCAA or the IARP, as long as it still exists, really has anymore is a postseason ban. That's all you're worried about. Scholarship reductions, which used to be a big deal, no longer matter. When LSU got nailed in the Lester Earl thing back in the late 90s, it was a big deal because you couldn't replace those scholarships. You had signing restrictions. You had a 5 and 8 rule, and there was no transfer portal. You had a hard time recouping lost scholarships at that time. Now, Matt McMahon can go from 0 players to a team that is possibly going to make the NCAA tournament in less than 90 days. It was really impressive. So scholarship reductions don't matter anymore. Fines, $5,000? I mean, I've seen traffic violations that were worse. What else you got here? The 25%, 0.25% of the men's basketball budget. Who cares? Recruiting restrictions. You can't have this many visits. You can have less phone calls. Nothing. The only thing that really matters is a postseason ban, and that didn't happen here. And I get more and more confident as this gets closer to resolution, probably sometime next spring, that LSU is going to get nothing. So like I said, at one point, this was a big, big story. NCAA violations, penalties forthcoming. Now it's like, eh. But I thought I would let you know in the public interest of just letting you know. By the way, Matt McMahon talked to the media yesterday. Talked about and really haven't he's been working behind the scenes. Not a whole lot of news other than all of the players that they signed. So this is really his first time talking in a while, and he was talking about, his team.
I would prefer the summer and fall to be more player development driven, a lot of individual workouts and so forth. But with us having essentially 13 new players, new staff, we've done a lot more team events this summer and fall to start to build the chemistry of the group, to start the installation process of offense, defense, and special team schemes. And then now I think as practice starts, ultimately the players will determine who plays.
Special teams. See, I like that he's got the football lingo in it. See, he knows where he is. This guy's pretty sharp, man. It's like, hey, listen, I'm not publicity seeking here or anything. Where you been for the last few months? Oh, they gave me a team with 0 players. I decided to go out and get 13 players. You realize we've had coaches here in the past that had all year to recruit and couldn't get to 13 players? Like 20 years worth of them. They could never get. Like, you use all your scholarships this year, coach? Nah, we're going to leave a few of them on the shelf. Okay. So who does he like? Tell me who he likes.
Been a part of great teams that just had 1 leader. Been a part of great teams that had 5. I think Imwani Wilkinson and Adam Miller, certainly with their familiarity here with LSU, being high-level players, those are also great candidates to be leaders of the team. But out of that Murray State group, I think Juice Hill being at the point guard position, that's a critical part of being the point guard, is the ability to lead and impact others, set the tone for how we work, how we communicate and practice. I think he's done a terrific job of that.
I like the fact that they're going to have basketball season this year, because in March I was pretty sure they weren't. See how things can change. You bring a guy in like this and say, hey man, look, this is a hell of a job you're going to have. No problem, I got it. And you're listening to somebody who liked Will Wade as a basketball coach because he worked his behind off. Okay, he brought a lot of talent in. He was fiery. They won games. They won a lot of games. It was fun to watch. It was interesting. You were involved. They were relevant, and then all of that went away. But it didn't stay going away for very long because McMahon got on the job. Hopefully, for his sake, he will not have to deal with the IARP. The amount of waste that goes on in college athletics is astounding. 18 months because Penny Hardaway paid a moving truck. Eastern Washington. Anybody know where Eastern Washington is? Eastern Washington University.
Yeah, it's in Washington.
Thank you. Cheney, Washington. Anybody know who Eastern Washington is playing this week? School y'all know. University of Florida. Gators. How far is Cheney, Washington from Gainesville, Florida? Want to take a guess? Anyone?
A long ways.
Thank you, Taylor. You're getting all the questions right today. 2,706 miles. Which means a traveling party of, 70 to 100 is going to travel 2,706 miles to play a football game, which is not in doubt as to the outcome. Not getting on Florida. LSU did the same thing last week. 100 people from New Mexico came here to make 2 first downs. Halfway across the country to make 2 first downs. They got their check. LSU got their gate. Everybody was running clock in the second half, man. I got home before 1 in the morning. I didn't know what to do with myself. Anyway, we'll talk to Skip when we come back. This is Hanny Time, 104.5, ESPN Baton Rouge.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I am Juliet, daughter of Marguerite, granddaughter of Gabriel Piera. I come from a line of strong women who knew struggle and success too. Still, I was scared by my breast cancer diagnosis, but I had Blue Cross coverage, which meant I got care from top doctors. I'm strong like my mother and her mother before her. The right card, the right care.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $12,000 off MSRP on all new 2022 Ram Black Widow trucks in stock. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Light beer shouldn't taste like water. Miller Lite has more taste and only 96 calories. It's Miller time.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Join us for a Tuesday edition of Hunt and Hill. Glenn West to go 247 and Sharif Ishak on the Saints and Hells. Hunt and Hill 1 to 3 weekdays on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time with Charles Hannegriff on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This afternoon at Lipsy's and Industrialplex, starting at 5 o'clock, Skip Bertman will be available to sign copies of Everything Matters in Baseball, the Skip Bertman story, taking some pictures, signing some autographs, probably telling some stories, and he's here to tell us a few. Skip, good afternoon. How are you?
Hey, Charles, how are you today?
Fantastic. You know, I always wondered, never written a book, never been the topic of a book. How do you get started with something like this? Do you sit down with Gilbo and he says, like, hey, tell me about your childhood? I mean, how does it go? How do you get started on something like this?
Well, it's interesting that you asked that because 8 years ago we started. Investors put up some money for me so that the book could be written. So I want to pay the investors back. I'm not going to make any money. On the other hand, it was hard getting an author. It was hard getting somebody that knew about baseball generally, but knew me in particularly. And So we went through a couple authors, and finally we got to Glenn Gelbo, who did a great job while working and writing the book. And, of course, he spoke to about 200 people, friends of mine, to, of course, baseball players and coaches. And I think the book is good. I think it's good for anyone who's an LSU booster. I think it's good for any players. I think it's really good for coaches. And it was fun. It took a long time.
Was the fun
to get the book done?
Was the fun part for you when he would say, "Listen, I talked to fill in the blank with a player or administrator or a friend, and they said this," and that triggered some kind of memory for you, and say, "Yeah, let me give you my side of what happened that time, and this is how that haul went down." Because there's thousands of games, thousands of meetings when you were, the AD or the baseball coach, and so I guess some of the things that got triggered in your memory bank from some of the other people that were involved in this project.
Right. I think that's a good question. Of course, yes, that definitely happened. I think what happened most is I think most people have forgotten that baseball didn't even charge in 1984, and that the season tickets that were made up for 2 adults and 2 children for $30 for 35 games. And it was, making the coffee hot and getting the bathrooms clean and speaking at 80 different places to get the people interested, recruiting players that really weren't recruited by other schools because the other schools got them instead of me. I'm talking about UNO and Tulane. Talking about trying to explain to them where Omaha was and how we're going to get there. And naturally had to delete a lot of players who didn't really want to work that hard. But it was very hard at the beginning, and Glenn captured some of that and some of the players on how they helped me paint or fix the field at that time. So today it's easy in that sense. Players come in today, including Maneri, now Jay Johnson, and of course the field's already there and people are already fans and they just coach. But in the days past, in the beginning, you had to build your program and get people to come out, and that was a lot of fun for me.
Let's talk about the parts of the book that deal with your time as athletic director, because for many people at my age, we're not here in Baton Rouge when you started coaching. We're certainly here during a good part of your career, but not the first, not at the beginning. But we're here for the entire time as AD when a lot of things happened here. From Nick Saban to Les Miles to National Football Championships to building Alec Box Stadium. Talk to me about the part of the book that dealt with your time as AD.
Well, I'm glad Glenn did that because that was a big thing. I became the AD because others really didn't want the job or they couldn't get others that they really wanted. But people didn't realize that I knew what to do. And, of course, what had to be done was a seat license. And, of course, we had never had that, and most every other university has that. And that was a hard thing to do, where people had to pay money just to get the seats, which today, of course, is 10 times what it was back in, 2002 or 3 when it went in. And, of course, that's where all the money is. So that was important. And then there were many other things the coaches needed where I was able to coach the coaches. So we had a lot of success and winning programs. We had 20 sports at that time. And at one time towards the end, all 20 went into NC2A play. And I was very proud of that. Plus our coaches graduated a highest percentage ever.
Skip, when Mark Emmert approached you about that job, was it something that you immediately said, yes, this is something I want to do? It's always been in the back of my mind. I want to do that. Or you're like, you know what? I was planning on retiring, but then you warmed to the idea. What was your initial reaction when Emmert approached you?
Right. Emmert, Dr. Mark Emmert, the chancellor, approached me with a very, very dear friend Richard Lipsey and his wife Susan. And, I went over their house thinking that I was going to give them, honest to God, thinking that I was going to give Dr. Emmerich some information about one of the ADs who still, now he's at Kentucky where he's always been, but he was coming from Oregon. And, of course, the other AD, which was local, and I thought he was going to ask my opinion. But evidently, the Oregon AD dropped out, and Chancellor didn't like the other guy, and he says, "Would you do the job? I need approval, from all the board members." So, yes, you're right. I was going to raise money and give speeches. Dale Brown had blazed the trail for me. And I was going ahead to do that. I was going to be a consultant and so on. And then the truth of it is, Charles, that for no better reason than the fact that LSU needed me. Not me personally, but I knew what had to be done. I don't think that the predecessor AD really knew what had to be done in order for us to be very good. In order for me to make it work, I sent people on airplanes to the University of Florida or Texas A&M or other universities that were seemingly successful at that time. And they came back, and then they learned how to do it, and it was pretty easy. It just wasn't done before me. So that made it good. I felt good about that.
This afternoon, starting at 5 o'clock at Lipsey's in Industrialplex, Everything Matters in Baseball, a Skip Bertman story. Skip will be there signing autographs, signing books, and taking pictures. So you want to talk about a terrific gift for an LSU fan. This book, which I've read and enjoyed, learned some things that I didn't know as well. Skip will be there this afternoon. Skip, we always appreciate your time. Thanks so much for spending a few minutes. Good luck with the event
Charles,
this afternoon.
Thanks for calling. It's always great talking to you. You're really a star. You're the GOAT
Stop
of a radio
Stop
now.
it. Stop. Skip, we appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, babe. Bye.
I remember when that AD search was going on, and the people he's talking about, this all became public, but we kind of knew at the time. There was a real battle going on between Mitch Barnhart, who was at Oregon State at the time, and eventually ended up in Kentucky and is still at Kentucky, to be the AD, and Doug Morrow, who was the district attorney at the time. And Skip became we called him the compromise candidate, because literally there was nobody in the state of Louisiana that had any objection to Skip on anything. I mean, he was coming off of this was a year removed from his retirement when he took over as AD, less than a year actually, and he was 2 years removed from his 5th national title in 10 years. So it was typical Louisiana politics. You had one side that wanted one candidate, one side that wanted another candidate, and they were pretty dug in. And it was, who can we get that nobody will object to? See, Skip could have run for mayor. He could have been the athletic director at LSU and still done, anything else that he wanted to do in the state of Louisiana at the time. I mean, literally, he could have been mayor. He could have written his own ticket. Is what he's telling you there. Look, this was a real comfortable thing. I could have gone and give speeches for. He came in and, frankly, had to do a job that was not going to be real popular. He changed a lot of things with tailgating that was not real popular. He was the architect of the black posts, that took a lot of places on campus that were being damaged by excessive tailgating, and said, you can't park your RV there anymore. And Skip went. I always said this about the athletic director's job. If you ever become the athletic director at LSU, immediately after you get the job, go hug all of your family and all your friends, because down the line they'll be the only people left that are your friends. It is the most thankless job in the state of Louisiana. And I know this because Skip Bertman, when he took the job, was the most popular sports figure alive in Louisiana at the time. And 2 years later, I raised ticket prices, and he won't let me park my RV where I used to park my RV. So when you become and then when he retired, skip again. He's the baseball coach that won the 5 national championships. But when he was the AD, it's a guy that's making me pay more for tickets. Anyway, the book is good. It's a ton of stories, and if you lived through all of these times, you'll be able to relate to it. So if you're a longtime LSU fan, you'll really enjoy it because you'll remember the things. And if you're a younger LSU fan, you'll probably learn a lot of things that happened before you got to Baton Rouge or before you were born even. Good book. Take a break. Come back. Dwayne Colucci is with us from Las Vegas. This is Hanny Time, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time.
This weekend at Big Mike's, big event coming up for the Saints and the Vikings. They're opening at 8 a.m. for the 8:30 game. Come watch the Saints bright and early with us with happy hour prices all day long. Bottomless mimosas and champagne available as well. And look, they're having a pajama party. So if you wear your pajamas, they're going to give you a free beer or a free shot. Saints games are a big deal at Big Mike's. That's why the happy hour drink prices go all day on Sundays. You can make your whole football weekend about Big Mike's. They're open late after the high school football games on Friday night. Games on all day Saturday, and live music as well every weekend at Big Mike's. But this Sunday we'll be out early. I think I'm going to go straight from postgame. I'm going to go straight from postgame with the Auburn thing. Just going to go hang out, maybe catch a little. Gordy's got a sofa in his office, and they're just going to catch a little nap, go straight to Big Mike's and watch the Saints and the Vikings. It's on Aspen in Denham Springs. The Big Mike's were kind of a big deal.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This summer, meet Acura's heroes of performance. Only available at the Acura Summer of Performance.
This summer, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the MDX.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644.
Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Tuesday's AFR, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Sean Salisbury stops by for his weekly visit. We'll check in with the Saints in London. And Peter Burns joins us, 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time with Charles Hannegriff on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Our man Dwayne Colucci out at the South Point and Rampart in Las Vegas joins us right now. There's a horn. Hockey preseason has, I think, started. So Colucci's like round the clock, man. Colucci, how you doing this morning?
Doing good, Charlie. Thanks for having me on.
And I say early in the morning because it's still in the morning out Vegas time. So let me talk a minute about last Saturday in college football, because the favorites have been soaking up so much of money. These heavy favorites. But last week, if you plowed in on Georgia or Michigan or Clemson or Oklahoma or SC, none of those teams covered this past weekend. So tell me about the day in college football.
Yeah, Saturday was a pretty good day, I have to say, Charlie. You know, we had some big upsets from a point spread standpoint. And definitely when those big favorites go down, it knocks down so many parlays, some of them teasers. So it definitely becomes a favorable situation from my side of the counter. But it's exciting football as well, you know, and it'll increase handle. You still had some of those teams that were able to cover. And, you had a fabulous game in Clemson and Wake Forest. How great was that game, Charlie? It went down to the wire. That was really one of the top games. Wake really brought it, and true test and a great testament to Ugalele there. He played great down the stretch and, 5 touchdowns. What could you expect? Hartman had 6 touchdowns. It was a shootout. So when you have games like that, Michigan and Maryland, Maryland was able to really be competitive. That was another game like you're touching upon, and Georgia as well, So you have a lot of these teams that are just playing within themselves right now, in my opinion. They're not really the explosive teams of the past. Georgia definitely came out. They made a statement early on in the season, but now, a game like that, it's a little more reined in when you're basically playing a second half that was even, slightly to Georgia's favor. So we'll see how this all plays out. These teams are still winning. They're not really losing, and we're going to have an exciting playoff, and I love it from my side of the counter because it's great handle.
Tell me about the Florida-Tennessee game, because watching that, and I think the line landed 11 most places. I went watching the last, say, 6 minutes of that game, going from, okay, Tennessee's going to cover, to, okay, it's going to be a push, to, okay, Tennessee's not going to cover. Hang on, Tennessee's not actually going to lose this game, are they? The last 7.5 minutes must have been crazy in the book if you were watching Tennessee-Florida.
Yeah, definitely. It was real exciting. And made that exciting. Richardson. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
The guy was really playing great.
He
I
was.
couldn't believe it. And you thought that there was a possibility that Tennessee could lose the game. And they still outscored them in the second half, Charlie. It was 21-19 second half for Tennessee. But not even close to the point spread, like you said. Florida brought it late. And definitely, Tennessee was a nervous wreck going down that stretch. But still 4-0 now. You're seeing an improved Tennessee team. They're well coached, and they definitely play within themselves. Hooker had a great game himself when you look at it. He had 350 yards and 2 touchdowns and was rushing as well. So it was a great shootout. Richardson made it exciting. Florida played really well. They're 2-2, Tennessee 4-0. The book was off the hook, Charlie, like you said. Just very, very exciting down the stretch. And they had a chance to win, but it didn't pan out.
Must have been tough to cash a money line parlay on Sunday, given the way much of the public bets it. Chiefs lose, Bills lose, Bucks lose. And look, the Bucks may not have gotten as much support as normal because they were playing the Packers, but those other two, I would think, given the way that they're supported and the way they've played, especially Buffalo, that a lot of money line parlays went up in flames with those teams losing.
Yeah, definitely, Charlie. We had a lot of sharp money on the Colts, but how do you figure that they're going to win that game straight up? I mean, they didn't even score the week before, so that was definitely difficult on the public. And there were some other outcomes that the sharps backed, and you saw some line movement, but the parlays were actually on the flip side, so it worked out in our favor. We had tons of parlays and teasers on the cheats, like I said. Naturally, the Raiders, once again, that helped the books out. They're not playing well at all. It seems like Carr is not really in sync with the team, which is amazing to say. You see 303 yards, but a lot of those stats were padded in the second half. And when Tennessee is beating you, you got to start searching for your soul. And you're 0-3 in the NFL, so that definitely helped us out. The Saints, that was another shocker. They just laid an egg. Tons of parlays and teasers there. Baker Mayfield outplaying Winston and just, had a good game because he played within himself. And McCaffrey seems to be healthy, so that helps them out. Games that hurt us, Charlie, actually Eagles, they were, a big public side. They dominated that game. You had the Bengals as well. The Bengals played a solid football game. You knew they weren't going to go 0-3. There wasn't much action on the other side of the coin. And also last night, that was a difficult game because we took a ton of Cowboy action. We opened that game at 3, Charlie, and it closed at 1. So, there was some liability there, even from the Sunday teasers and parlays, and a lot of people were tying it into the boys, and they played a dominant second half, and just Daniel Jones was running for his life. You saw there were so many quarterback pressures that I believe it was a record against Daniel Jones, and they got a lot of sacks. Secondary was on, and they got good play out of Cooper Rush. So, we did lose a couple of games, but we did fairly well on Sunday.
I want to talk to you about the lines on 2 college games, and one of them is LSU, because we started getting the questions, during the post game about what the line would open at for LSU and Auburn, and a few people were putting out that Auburn might be a favorite. Those were look-ahead lines. I want to ask you what you guys opened it at, because it's done nothing but climb here in the last several days, be it from Auburn's performance. Auburn's got a key injury at center. What did you guys open LSU Auburn at, and what do you have it at now?
Yeah, I'm looking that right now, Charlie. We have several college games where we take that early hit from the sharp money, like you said. So we opened this game at 8 at the Rampart in South Point. It's a 4 o'clock ESPN game. Let me check what it is now for you.
Probably somewhere in the area 9.
I'm checking right now. I would say that I had seen 8.5, I believe, before I left yesterday.
8.5, okay.
And now 9, you're right, 9.
Yeah.
It is up to 9 currently at the Rampart in South Point, LSU -9 in Auburn. So it's going to be interesting, like you said, some key injuries there. I think also we have to watch certain weather conditions, not in this particular game, but with the hurricane in your area there's going to be some games that might be affected by that. So when you're betting, early on, like we said, the sharp money's getting applied on LSU. Some of these games, they're definitely watching the area, and the hurricane. So we didn't have as much handle early on this Saturday, Charlie.
Yeah, they've already moved, not that this is a big betting game, but they moved South Carolina and South Carolina State to Thursday. I think they've moved, it's Miami's game, I think, has changed location. I'm not sure about that. So yeah, over in Florida, they're definitely going to have a problem. The other game I wanted to ask you about was, and by the way, to the best of our recollection, that is the biggest favorite that LSU has ever been over Auburn on the road. I can't think of another year where they were any more than that. The other game is Texas A&M and Mississippi State. To me, Kaluch, this is the mother of all sandwich spots. A&M coming off of that emotional and, frankly, a little bit lucky win against Arkansas in Dallas, and with Alabama on the slate next week, and they go to Mississippi State. This is the mother of all sandwich spots, and Mississippi State's a little bit better than a field goal favorite. I'm seeing 3.5 right now. That, to me, is one of the more interesting. That's probably going to make its way into my picks on Friday. I'll just give you a little preview right there. What do you think about that game?
I think it's a tough game, and that's why we opened it at 3.5, and it is 3.5, like you said, Charlie. So I anticipate some great two-way action, probably a little more action on the favorite, maybe. I'm thinking Mississippi State in this situation, but, A&M, they can't play the look-ahead game, like you said. So this is definitely going to be a great matchup. Who are you looking at, Charlie? Give us a little.
I like State in this game. I think that in addition to A&M, I don't think is all that good. This is one of the weaker passing games in the country, and they lost Aeneas Smith, their top wide receiver, to a broken leg in the Arkansas game. So he's out for the year. So what was already a weak passing game becomes even more compromised, and I think – honestly, A&M got a little bit lucky. If it goes 21-7 Arkansas, which they were inside the 3-yard line, I think that the overwhelming possibility is that Arkansas wins that game if it gets to that. And even without that, they almost won it. They were inches away on the field goal. So I like State in the sandwich spot, even though they are favored over the ranked team. One more before we let you go. Saints and the Vikings, this is an early start for us at 8:30 with the London game. Tell me, there's people, this would be 6:30 Vegas time. What's the sports book look like at 6:30 Vegas time on a Sunday morning? I mean, the late game's just wrapped up, okay? You gonna have a crowd in there for Vikings and Saints? Saints are a 2.5-point dog right now.
Believe it or not, yes, we will. I'm telling you, Charlie.
I knew the answer. I just wanted you to say it. I knew the answer.
It's amazing. I know you did. And like you said, the Vikings 2.5-point favorite on the road. This is a tough spot for the Vikings. I mean, Cook got hurt. They're not that great. You saw they had to come back. It was life and death against the Lions. Now, granted, the Lions are much improved, but they went for that field goal. That was a terrible chance. I thought it was a poor coaching decision, and the Lions coaching staff gets so much credit, and it just let Minnesota then dominate the end of the game. So the Vikings 2.5 in the Saints, Winston, I don't know. You and Jimmy Ott were talking about possible, championships coming out of the NFC, and, now this team just looks horrible. I mean, they really have to get some good defensive play if they're going to beat Minnesota. That's why you're seeing Minnesota. And I don't think it'll get to that key number of 3, Charlie. I think we're going to sit at the 2.5, maybe even see some Saints late action. The sharp money definitely will dictate in this game. We'll have some parlays and teasers, but it's already come down a half. We opened it at 3. So I definitely anticipate more Saint money, total of 44 in that game. It's an indoor game, naturally, very early. Or no, actually, it's an outdoor game. I'm sorry, that facility is outdoors. I believe that definitely these teams are tentative when they go into Europe. I don't know what to make of it. I think they're definitely going to be a low-scoring matchup.
Quarterback's got a broken back. How could I know that? Okay, he's got a broken. I'm using that as an excuse. 4.
Yeah.
4. Yeah. I'm using that as an excuse right now, whether it plays or not. That's my story. I'm sticking to it.
Taysom Hill. Who else? Who's the backup there, Charlie?
No, the backup's Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton.
Right.
Yeah, so and at this point, if Winston isn't, we said this on the show yesterday, if Winston's not healthy, which it does not appear that he is, then Andy Dalton is a viable alternative. But God bless you, not winning a championship.
He's been playing with the injury.
Yeah, he has. He has. So anyway, you're not going to win a championship with Andy Dalton. I like him as a backup quarterback, but they're reluctant to make the move because I'm pretty sure they know that too. We'll see if their hand gets forced. Kaluch, we'll talk to you on Thursday night with on Jimmy Ott's Game Time. As always, we appreciate your time, my friend.
Oh, thank you, Charlie. It's always a pleasure to join you. I appreciate you having me on, my friend.
Good to talk to you. I knew the answer to the question about early morning in the Vegas sportsbook. You know how I know that? So I'll tell this story real quick. This is quite a few years ago when I was a much younger person. Let's just say that I didn't mind playing cards till a decent hour at night, a pretty late hour. It's turned into early morning hours. So on one of my summer vacations out there, got into this tournament, got pretty late into the night. Come out of the poker room about, let's just say somewhere in the area of 4 a.m. All right. I got to walk past the sports book on my way to my room. It's packed. I mean, it is jam-packed. And this isn't a like one of these late like party come out of the nightclub crowds. These are sports fans. They are in their seats. And I look up, this would have been in the 90s, so I wasn't really paying attention to soccer at the time. So what the hell's going on? It's 4:30 in the morning. World Cup. Packed for the World Cup, 4:30 in the morning. I don't even know where the World Cup was. I don't even remember what year it was, but it stuck with me. It's like you put a sporting event on that people care about in Vegas, they will show up to bet it. He's not lying, okay? I'm not saying that the sports book is going to be overflowing for Vikings and Saints, but it will not be empty. I promise you. All right, ask us some questions in the YouTube chat when we come back here. Hanny Time, 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time.
Acura and Infinity of Baton Rouge. You know, the last several vehicles that I bought, buy them from Acura and Infinity of Baton Rouge. First of all, on the pre-owned lot, lots of inventory. So inventory is not a problem. The transparency of the sale, when you get into buying a vehicle, you don't want all of the hassle, jump through all of the hoops, go through this long negotiation. It's going to be a transparency of pricing, and they're going to treat you as a valued customer you are, like family. That's what they've done for me. That's why I continue to buy my vehicles there. The certified pre-owned program is second to none because you're going to get a better warranty. You're going to get better service. You're going to get a vehicle that is more qualified, and you're going to get it at the best price. It's why they can continue to get my business. It's why I encourage you to do business with them as well. At Acura and Infinity of Baton Rouge.
This week on dropbiscuit.com or wherever you listen to podcasts is our new series, Pops, the Louis Armstrong story. Pops is brought to you by New Orleans & Company. Check out neworleans.com and come visit New Orleans.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big V and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling.
Good, Eli.
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
Jimmy Otta and Mike Delicano for the Tuesday evening edition of Game Time, presented by Bet Rivers. We're at Mike Anderson's on Lee, just off of Nicholson. That's Game Time, presented by Bet Rivers, 6 to 8 p.m. on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Congratulations to Jeremy Rayburn of Zachary. Jeremy is our Week 4 winner in the 2022 Twin Peaks College Football Pick'em Contest. He wins a $50 Twin Peaks gift card. Don't forget to make your picks for Week 5 by 5 p.m. on Thursday. Play the 2022 Twin Peaks College Football Pick'em today at 1045ESPN.com.
This is Hanny Time with Charles Hannegriff on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I'll tell you about an event coming up this Saturday at Radio Bar on Government Street. It's the Bike Bash Fighting MS, the MS Society's donor drive. The event will include watching the LSU Auburn game, of course, free pastelac, keg beer, while the supplies last. It's going to be a drawing at halftime. They've got some memorabilia from Tyrann Mathieu, some Marucci bat gear. Josh Smith has signed some things now in the major leagues that will be on that in that drawing. So head on by Radio Bar, make a donation to the MS Society. Bashing MS, the Bike Bash, this Saturday at 3 o'clock. Ask Hanny, who do you think will play in the Major League Baseball World Series? Astros in the American League, but in the National League, I'm losing faith in the Mets. It's hard to bet against the Dodgers right now. Ask Hanny, what are your thoughts on Kim Mulkey refusing to comment on the Brittany Griner situation? She got more pushback for not commenting than if she had commented. I can tell you that. What was the other one? Ask Hanny, do you think that, do you enjoy A&M losing as much as I do? Reserve all my hate for Alabama. Stay focused. Hunt Hill is next. It's been Handy Time, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.